And welcome to another edition of the Defender Roundtable with your Defender staff, Terrence, Laura, Aswad, and yours truly, Rashonda. We are here to talk about another hot topic. And this week, we're talking about the topic everybody's talking about, and that's the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Now, it continues with its second, third week of witness testimony. The details of his alleged abuse and violence are disturbing and horrific, and photos and video evidence are backing them up. This is turned into way more than many of us ever thought. But this week, we're talking about it. As you see, a lot of people painting Cassie and saying she's not really a victim because she agreed. So we're going to talk about the trial in general and weigh in on some thoughts on Cassie, Ventura, and just our thoughts on this whole mess. And Terrence, we'll start with you.
You always got to start with me. Y'all know I'm gonna say something crazy. But here's
That's
my
how we
thing:
start
is
with you.
I guess, but no, here's my thing. Like with Cassie, I wouldn't go as far as to say she's not the victim. I don't know that she's as much of a victim. Now the abuse is the abuse, and that was wrong, and that should never happen under any circumstance. I mean, but I think in terms of maybe some of the things that she was being exposed to, it felt like she was pursuing a lot of that too at the same time. I mean, I don't know, what the introductory part of it was, but I mean, when she was requesting him, she was saying, I need this, I want this, and so, and he was providing, and it was at some points where Diddy was actually saying, hey, you got other stuff on your plate. Let's hold off on this. I mean, so I felt like but don't get me wrong, I don't ever want to be in a position of defending Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, or whatever you want to call him. He's a bad idea.
And let's not forget that she was 21, 22 years old. And I just think of myself at that age. I think of my daughters at that age, and he's so much older than her. And for us to victim blame, okay. I'm gonna let a swat weigh in, and then we'll talk about it.
Why are we coming to me? Why I got to try to mansplain? But anyway, um, so I'm with you on that, Rashonda. I mean, she's a kid, man. She's a kid. Number one, number two. There's just a disturbing trend of Black women not being respected, Black women not being believed, and it just seems like almost piling on to me. All these people coming out, and really almost blaming Cassie. It seems like for being in this situation. And I mean, I have four daughters, so maybe that's coloring my perspective. But I would hope and pray that even if I didn't have those four daughters, I would still, want to stand up for Black womanhood. The other thing that really stands out to me is no one's talking about our culpability in all of this. And when I mean our, I'm talking about Black people. How we let our love for the art supersede decency and holding people to account for their mistreatment of other human beings. We did it with R. Kelly and other folk. As long as he's singing music that we can bop to, we're cool with, and he can get away with it. Folk knew what he was doing since the '90s, and they just let him slide.
See, I don't know. I agree. I disagree a little bit on that. I mean, I don't think we're giving anybody a pass. I mean, but like some stuff we heard things about R. Kelly. We didn't know
R.
things. We
Kelly
didn't
got a
know anything.
pass, man. R. Kelly got a
We
pass.
didn't know anything
Folks,
factual about R. Kelly. I mean,
I mean, people
everybody
keep
the
and
forgetting
their
the past.
mama,
People
like the
still
all
stepping
Aaliyah
in the
thing.
name
I
of
think you're
love.
everybody in
alluding to the Aaliyah,
Chicago
the Aaliyah
knew
thing.
what was going down. They knew that
I think you're alluding to the Aaliyah thing.
he was posted right across the street from them high schools and middle schools. Everybody knew that.
No, we
They
didn't.
still
That's
stepping in the
not
name
true.
of love. They still stepping in the name of
To
love.
this day, they're doing it right now.
I
All right,
mean, hey,
let's
I'm gonna tell you
let's let
this.
Laura weigh in.
I will go to an R. Kelly concert if he got out tomorrow. I'm there.
Oh my God, Laura, come on, jump in here.
All right. So I know we all heard that, she met Diddy at a very, very young age, right? So we all have to remember that abuse doesn't always look like abuse, attack, physical bruises and things. And so sometimes abuse is power. Sometimes abuse is fame. And in this case, from the outside looking in, P. Diddy is giving or gave Cassie a life of fame or, you know, career that he promised her. Also, he has access to her, you know, to the industry. He's in control of her image. He was in control of pretty much everything. And at that such a young age, you're pretty much impressionable. They say your frontal lobe is not really developed until the age of what? How old was she at that time? 19, 20? She still had a lot of learning at that time. So when we see her from the outside, the red carpets and the pictures, you know, that's what we're seeing from the outside. But a lot of those things are emotional abuse. A lot of those things are power. And he fed into that. And so I remember reading, I don't know, during the trial, they said, you know, why didn't you leave? And she was like, look, I was deeply in love with this person. You know, the only time I got time with him was when we were alone, you know, and during the times when they were alone, that's when the abuse was happening. Who knows how many times she decided to leave and he just dragged her back in. We don't know how many times. We only saw that in that one video. So there's a lot of things that we don't know. And so when we keep thinking about, oh yeah, why did she stay? Why did she stay? There's just so many components. I can't even imagine like my life being in danger and me having to survive in this way to, you know, having to do these things to survive. That's just the only reasoning behind why I believe she would have stayed. Because, you know, abuse comes in different forms. We just can't sit here and blatantly say, oh, hey, yeah, you know, she could have left. You know, this man is a dangerous man.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
according to the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, there's, first of all, 1 in 4 women, and then it's also 1 in 10 men experience sexual violence, physical violence, and are stalking by a partner. And the most dangerous time for a victim's safety is when they leave the abusive relationship. If you let them know, that puts them at a greater risk, or if they find out, that puts the victim at a greater risk of intimate partner homicide or violence. So when you couple that with a young woman who has lost her independence, who has no agency because she had no agency over herself at that time, we can look back and say, oh, she could have left. But this was a point where we're looking at a young girl who had all of these factors going on with no agency. Now, what some people are doing is they're trying to claim mutual abuse. But all that does is shift the blame away from the perpetrator, and it undermines power imbalances. He had the power, she did not.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, does the narrative switch to we have to prepare young women on how to walk away? I mean, you know,
Well,
we
it's not
can't.
just
It's
women.
not.
I feel that we need to stop pushing women to do all these things to keep men's hands to themselves. Men need to have more self-control, have more sexual discipline, and a lot of them do not have that. Women cannot be the ones carrying the burden for this gender's responsibility. I'm tired of the rhetoric. Like I keep hearing this a lot.
Yeah, and
Women,
they
give women a break.
But that's not what I'm saying, though.
You
That's
know,
not what I'm saying. I mean, definitely, the abuse is abuse, and there's no tolerance for that. No man should ever put his hands on a woman, and no woman should put her hands on a man. You know, we should all know how to conduct ourselves. So that's a given. But when these things do happen, I just think at some point we have to make sure that we're arming our women with the knowledge and understanding of how to get up and walk away too. I mean, I'm not saying that, and please don't think that I'm condoning anything that guy did, because I mean he's a creep. I mean, and I stand by that. But I also think that we have to be about helping our young women, you know, be safe and get to safety and move away from these type of situations. That's all I'm saying.
Of course, I agree, Terrence, and education is always key. But if you look at the people in his life that did not move away, the assistants, the other celebrities who looked the other way as she was being abused, that shows you the power, how so many of them were
Yeah.
scared of the power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
many of
bothers.
them have come out and said that, you know, they viewed him as a dangerous man, as a dangerous human being. And, you know, some have even insinuated that there are some people who have been unalived because of the power that he has. And so
Yeah.
I'm with you, Terrence, on yes, we have to teach our young ladies, but I'm also with you, Laura. We got to teach our young brothers. It's as if, you know, all the responsibility is on the sisters, and that's absolutely not right.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I agree.
this is definitely something that will be continuing, especially as the trial continues. But we do want to just lay off the victim blaming, because that's what keeps other people from coming forward. Not that we're
Yeah.
doing it here, but it takes is a logging on to social media, and you will see that that is something that is on every platform, and that causes more victims to remain silent, both men and women. But this
Yeah.
discussion will continue. We're talking about it on defendernetwork.com. You can check out our story that as we cover the trial. And that is it for us now. And thank you so much for being with us. Please continue to support the Defender Roundtable on defendernetwork.com. Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.